Hi, I'm at the John Cooke Memorial in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. And John Cooke is our 11 times great-grandfather. He was the son of Francis Cooke and Hester Le Mayhew. I think I said that right. And they were originally married, Francis and Hester were married in 1603 in Leiden, Holland, as part of the Huguenot congregation of the Walloons. So they're originally Huguenots. That's Hester's main religion. Nothing is really known about Francis Cooke, but they had a son, John Cooke, the first out of 7 children. And John was born in 1606 at a place called Petersburg, which is Peter's Church in Leiden. And in 1611, they left the Huguenot church of the Walloons and they joined the separatists, the English separatists, who got there in about 1909. So in 1620, John and Francis boarded the Speedwell, made it over to England, and they boarded the Mayflower to become passengers on the Mayflower. So our 12 times and 11 times great-grandparents were passengers on the Mayflower. They left Hester and the other children in England or Holland, and they came over on the ship Anne in 1623 to join the group. Now, John Cooke in 1636 became a deacon of the Plymouth Church, and one of his jobs was to hang out or congregate with the Quakers to dissuade them from their harmful ways. But John, like many others, he liked the Quakers and he thought they were good people, and he started going on his own avenue of preaching his own sort of thoughts on religion. So in 1657, the Plymouth Church excommunicated him, and they pretty much kicked him out of Plymouth. So he headed down here about 30 miles to the southwest to Fairhaven, and in 1657, and he became the first white settler in this whole area, him and his wife and his children. So he was in 1657. Now, the whole area here, Dartmouth, including Fairhaven, which used to be part of Dartmouth, was incorporated in 1664. So he is here a good 7 years before this was even incorporated as its own town. So in 1675, we'll learn a little bit later on that Chief Matacomet, who was also known as King Philip, had a big uprising of Indians against all the Plymouth settlers. And John Cooke was one of the main people who helped thwart the attempt of these Indians down here in Fairhaven. So in 1695, John died, and he was the oldest surviving passenger on the Mayflower. He was 89 years old, and the tradition is that he was buried here in John Cooke Memorial, Fairhaven Park, they call it here. And so let me read this plaque to you. Sacred to the memory of John Cooke, who was buried here in 1695, the last surviving male pilgrim of those who came over on the Mayflower, the first white settler in this town, and the pioneer of its religious, moral, and business life, a man of character and integrity, and the trusted agent for this part of the Commonwealth of the old colonial civil government of Plymouth. Now, it wasn't about until 200 years later that people claimed this was a burial site of John Cooke, and it wasn't the burial site. Most likely John Cooke was buried at his daughter's Sarah and his son-in-law Arthur Hathaway's house, which is out in Acushnet, and we'll visit that perhaps if we have time a little bit later. So that's the story of John Cooke, and he, like I said, his daughter Sarah Cooke married Arthur Hathaway, and their daughter Mary Hathaway married Samuel Hammond, and the Hammond family is a huge family in all this Dartmouth area. We'll discover that later on. Thank you. Bye-bye.